If you've ever stood on a platform in Japan as a Shinkansen roars straight through without stopping, you know that sound is almost violent. But here's the strange part. Stand on a conventional Japanese rail platform and watch an express train blow past, and it never comes close to that kind of roar. Conventional trains have boxy, square bodies, while the Shinkansen has a beautifully sculpted aerodynamic shape. So the train that seems to ignore the air is quieter, which feels like a contradiction. Today, let's dig into why a passing Shinkansen is so incredibly loud. First, the obvious part. The passing speeds are completely different. On conventional lines, even a fast limited express tops out around 120 to 130 kilometers per hour, and it slows down further for curves and switches. The Shinkansen, on the other hand, runs dead straight down the center passing tracks away from the platform, and as a rule, it doesn't slow down at all. It blasts through at the line's top speed. That's 275 kilometers per hour on the Joet Shinkansen, and up to 320 kilometers per hour on the fastest stretches of the Tohoku line. It's over in an instant, so it's hard to feel, but the train is not braking. So we're talking about 2 to 3 times the speed. If it were twice as fast, so twice as loud, this would be simple. But sound doesn't grow in proportion to speed. According to Japan's Railway Technical Research Institute, the noise of a moving train splits into 3 main types. First, rolling noise, the wheels and rails grinding against each other. Second, aerodynamic noise, the body tearing through the air. And third, the current collection noise around the pantograph. And which of these takes the lead changes dramatically with speed. For a passing conventional train, the star is rolling noise. The surfaces of the wheel and rail have tiny irregularities, and as they roll, they vibrate against each other and make sound. That's not the clack-clack, it's a continuous roar. The clack-clack is a separate impact sound, made when the wheels strike the joints between rails. It rings out at every joint, which is where that rhythm comes from. This rolling noise grows roughly with the square to the cube of speed. At around 100 kilometers per hour, almost everything you hear comes from down at the wheels. But aerodynamic noise grows in a completely different way. In fluid dynamics theory, the energy of aerodynamic noise scales with roughly the 6th to 8th power of speed. Even if we take just the 6th power, doubling the speed multiplies the sound energy by 64. Triple the speed, and it's 729 times. In decibels, doubling the speed adds about 18 decibels, and tripling it adds about 29. Far from proportional, it grows explosively. This difference in growth flips which sound is in charge. At low speed, rolling noise dominates, but somewhere around 200 kilometers per hour, aerodynamic noise overtakes it. Conventional trains never even step into the aerodynamic noise world. Meanwhile, the roar of a 300 kilometer per hour Shinkansen isn't really the sound of wheels, it's the sound of the air itself screaming. So if the body is aerodynamically perfect, does the air just flow past silently? Unfortunately, no. As the body moves, a thin layer of air gets dragged along by the air's own stickiness. This is the boundary layer. Near the nose, it flows smoothly, but toward the rear, it grows thicker and more chaotic, becoming a turbulent boundary layer packed with tiny swirling vortices. The pressure fluctuations of those countless vortices radiate as sound from the entire surface of the train. No matter how smooth the shape, you can't make this zero. An even bigger source is the bumps on the body. Under the floor, around the bogies, wheels and motors sit almost fully exposed. There are gaps between one car and the next, too. When 300 kilometer per hour airflow slams into all that, vortices form one after another, and those vortices become powerful sound sources. So aerodynamics isn't just about the visible streamlined nose. The hidden underbody is the real battleground of noise design. A large share of a Shinkansen's aerodynamic noise comes from down there, around the running gear. And we can't forget the pantograph. Even a plain rod hit by fast wind sheds alternating vortices behind it and gives off a whistling Aeolian tone. It's the same principle as power lines singing on a windy day. A pantograph standing in a 300 km/h wind can become a giant whistle all by itself. So on J.R. West's 500 series, engineers took a hint from the silently flying owl and added fine serrations to the pantograph to break the vortices into smaller, quieter pieces. This sound is a tough enough opponent that they borrowed wisdom from nature itself. The loudness you feel on the platform has ingredients beyond just sound. A high-speed train shoves the air aside at its nose, so hills and valleys of pressure travel along stuck to the body. These pressure swings and the train wind dragged along by the body fade rapidly the farther you are from the track, which is why the passing tracks are set away from the platform. Even so, at the moment it passes, the change in sound and the change in wind pressure hit your body at once. Sound in your ears, layered with pressure on your body, is what makes it feel more powerful than the numbers alone. In fact, the effect of train wind on platforms is a real research topic at JR East. That's why at passing stations you're asked to stand back behind the yellow line. Now let's return to that opening contradiction. If they're masters of aerodynamics, why is it so loud? Actually, it's the other way around. The goal of aerodynamic design isn't to make the sound zero. It's to desperately hold back the explosive rise that comes at the sixth power of speed. If you ran a boxy conventional train at 300 kilometers per hour as is, the noise would be far, far worse than what you hear. In fact, Japan sets environmental noise standards for the Shinkansen. Under the Ministry of the Environment's rules, it's 70 decibels or less in residential areas and 75 decibels or less in commercial industrial areas. The long nose, the smoothed-over body, the sound barriers, all of it is a stack of effort to hit 320 kilometers per hour while staying under those limits. Sure, when a 320 kilometer per hour object passes right in front of you, conversation gets hard for a brief moment. But this is among the quietest high-speed rail in the world. That roar is the sound of just how far engineers have pushed back against the laws of physics. Let's wrap up. Conventional trains feel quiet because they run below the speed where the aerodynamic noise world begins. The Shinkansen is loud because it runs inside that world, where noise grows with the sixth power of speed. The main sources are the turbulent boundary layer, the vortices around the bogies, and the pantograph. The aerodynamic body is the weapon built to hold that explosive sound in check. The roar of a passing Shinkansen is the sound of engineering fighting the laws of physics. Listen to it that way, and doesn't it sound just a little different? Thanks so much for watching, all the way to the end. On this channel, from an engineer's point of view, we dig into the everyday mechanisms around us, the ones you thought you knew, but maybe never quite understood. If today's story sparked even a little curiosity, I'll see you in the next video.